this to see what it takes to become a Las Vegas showgirl on PM Magazine at 6:30 here on Channel 4.
The legend of Tony the Tiger.
Breakfast! Come and get it!
Same old grub again, Cookie.
H.O.
Frosted Flakes partners?
Isn't that, kitty food, stranger?
Way I reckon, Kellogg's Sugar Frosted Flakes have a taste you never outgrow.
Mighty good.
Some folks call them great.
Much obliged, eh, stranger?
Who was that striped man, anyway?
It's a taste you never outgrow.
Make money with Scott Towels, the better value towel. Over $2 million in prizes with one chance in 20 to win. 3 grand prize winners will each receive $10,000. There are millions of chances to win money and coupons. Look for specially marked packages of Scott Towels at Make Money displays in participating stores. Each specially marked Scott Towels package contains a game card. Collect matching halves, and you're in the money. Some packages contain instant winners. Play Scott Towels Make Money and win. Frank's craft sale book is in this weekend's newspaper and at the store, Dolores. The savings are tremendous.
Frank's Nursery and Crafts.
WCCO Television, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
If you're one of those people known in the vernacular as pirates, people intercepting the HBO signal by having a dish on your home, a court decision was made this morning that may affect you. A federal judge in St. Paul dismissed lawsuits against hundreds of people who are pirating the HBO signal. The suits were brought by the distributor of HBO, and the judge dismissed all of the cases on a technicality. All of this means the pirates are off the hook for now anyway. More on that legal action against the pirates sure to come. That story is part of the Friday, September 9th edition of the 5 p.m. report. Hello, everybody. I'm Don Shelby. Dave Moore is back with us in the newsroom. He has some of the other stories that we're following today. Hello, David.
Good afternoon, Don. Caroline Lodon will be here to report on a homicide in Minneapolis early this morning. The victim, a man in his 60s. 130 acres of wetlands have been damaged in Blue Earth County, perhaps by improper drainage procedures. Barb Brown will report that story from our St. Paul News Bureau. And Alan Cox is standing by in downtown Minneapolis to bring us a progress report on the new nighttime shopping hours. Those stories among all of the many coming up in the next half hour, Don.
One of the top news stories today is the fact that President Reagan will speak to the United Nations on September 26th to make a statement about the Soviet downing of that Korean airliner. The White House says the president feels the world situation requires a statement at the highest level. The Soviets were making statements of their own today. During a rare news conference for Western journalists, the Soviet chief of staff said his pilots fired 2 sets of warning shots at the Korean plane before shooting it down with a missile. The general repeated the Soviet claim that the Korean plane was on a spy mission and warned that the Soviet forces will fire again if a similar situation arises. That's the same message delivered by Soviet Foreign Minister Andrei Gromyko at the European Security Conference held in Madrid this week. Secretary of State George Shultz calls that explanation totally unacceptable, and today, as that meeting wound up, the war of words continued. Bob Schieffer reports.
There was a royal beginning for today's final session as the King of Spain welcomed the delegates who'd gathered here from 35 nations. But George Shultz was the leadoff speaker, and he quickly returned the focus to the theme the West has sounded throughout this conference.
The Soviet Union has ruthlessly taken the lives of 269 innocent people on a defenseless civilian airplane. And from this rostrum, its foreign minister shamelessly insisted that the Soviet Union would do so again, thus again demonstrating its callous disregard for human life.
Schultz's speech wraps up 3 days that could mark a turning point in superpower relationships and may indeed mark a turning point in his tenure as Secretary of State. Until recently, Schultz's approach to the job has been so low-key that many wondered if he was losing his influence within the administration. But since the shooting down of the Korean airliner, he has been out front, the administration's point man, and he has seemed to enjoy it. Bob Schieffer, CBS News, Madrid.
The next story was bound to happen. No one wanted it to, but it was bound to. A Japanese fishing boat has recovered the body of a child believed to have been one of the 269 people aboard that Korean plane. Medical examiners in Tokyo say the body of the child was pierced by metal and glass fragments. They believe the child was between 6 and 11 years of age.
In Minneapolis, the body of a man believed to be in his 60s was found this morning at 520 Washington Avenue North. Caroline Lowe has been talking with police today about this homicide squad case. 520 Washington Avenue is the warehouse district. Is the man a transient?
No, it's a factory where he worked. His name is Milton Thielke. He's a 63-year-old Richfield widower. He'd worked for 8 years as a foreman at the factory. He was found about 7:30 this morning by a fellow worker. Police say he had been severely beaten in the head, and they're not sure how long he'd been dead. They believe it was sometime after 3 o'clock this morning and before 7:30.
He's a resident, a citizen of Minneapolis?
No, he's from Richfield, but he'd worked there at the factory, and they believe that the victim possibly knew the suspect. They believe that he'd been murdered elsewhere, and then his body was dumped on a loading dock where he works.
Police have anybody in mind, a suspect in mind?
Well, they have a man in custody for questioning this afternoon, and no decision will be made probably until Monday whether or not to charge him with a homicide.
Apparently the man showed up for work, and he was killed there, or was he killed there, or someplace and his body brought there?
Well, he normally does show up about 7 o'clock in the morning for work, but they believe that he was killed before and then dropped off where he works. And from the beginning, they ruled out robbery as a motive because they found a wallet full of cash in his pocket.
They won't tell you any more about it, except for the fact that they're talking with somebody.
They're talking, and they're very optimistic they're going to have it wrapped up very soon.
How many survivors is this man?
Well, he was recently widowed. He was widowed about a month ago. His wife had been sick for some time, and he has several children.
Thank you, Caroline. The Friday Five will resume in just a moment. It is 6.5 minutes after 5 o'clock.
Okay, hit it, Becky. We're all ears. Uh-oh. Aren't you going to play our song for us?
I kind of forgot it.
How about having a bowl of Rice Krispies and we'll give you a hand? How about a foot?
It's fun to put Snap, Crackle, Pop into your morning.
Now I remember.
Kellogg's Rice Krispies cereal, part of this complete breakfast.
Into your morning.
Guess I got too keyed up.
Now, for a limited time only at Levitt's, save 50% on this cane-back vinyl seat brewer's chair. Now only $29 at the Levitt's near you.
You're invited to attend any Weight Watchers meeting through September 30th at no charge. Then join for only half the regular registration and first meeting fee. Call now.
It's time to fix this place up. Frank's Craft Sale Book has Dazzle Air yarn at 99 cents.
Kids' rooms are
Silk flowers at 25% off. Candle wicking items, plastic canvas at 44 cents. Candy making supplies. Frank's Craft Sale Book is in this weekend's newspaper. And it's a store.
Dolores?
The bargains do it to me every time.
Movie Systems Incorporated, that's the name of the company.